For more than 100 years, the Manitoba Registered Music Teachers Association has been providing top quality music education throughout the province of Manitoba. This vibrant organization has been offering professional development opportunities and support for music teachers, as well as encouraging young artists to grow and flourish as musicians. Throughout the pandemic, music teachers and their students have had to adapt to new challenges in regards to music education. One particular issue that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle is the issue of quality music education in the rural parts of Manitoba. Thankfully, the MRMTA has a strong presence outside the city of Winnipeg. Here to tell us more about the Manitoba Registered Music Teachers Association and their presence here in rural Manitoba, I am joined by Dianna Neufeld, the president of the Brandon Westman region of the MRMTA, and Wes Hamm, president of the Southern Manitoba branch of the MRMTA. Hi, Dianna and Wes. It's nice to have you here over Zoom.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Mm-hmm. A number of months ago, I chatted with the author, Dr. Muriel Smith, about her book, A Century of Sound Connections, the Manitoba Registered Music Teachers Association, 1919 to 2019. And in that conversation, we talked about the formation of the organization. But I want to dig into this a little bit, and in particular, in regards to the more rural parts of Manitoba. Wes, I'm going to start with you. Can you give us a little bit of background behind how the formation of the Southern Manitoba branch started and what communities exactly the Southern Manitoba branch covers?
Sure. The Southern Manitoba branch was formed in the mid-1970s. Justina Wiebe, a voice teacher and an MRMTA member since 1948, pianist Sharon Weens, and Hilda Giesbrecht, and guitarist Ben Kaler were all instrumental in the early success of the branch. And I think what they saw was the benefits of having this local. There was a sense of ownership for local MRMTA activities, such as master classes and concerts, and community events. Almost every music teacher out here is involved in music festivals, choir music in church, other church music, school events. And so the teachers all had colleagues per se, but a local MRMTA membership meant that they had colleagues who also had studios like themselves and who also had significant music training. And so in that way, the branch also demonstrated how furthering one's music education could enhance the community music programs and events as well. We currently have members in Carman, Morden, Winkler, Altona, Morris, St. Adolphe, and the regions between. So that's pretty much a summary of the beginnings.
Mm-hmm. And Dianna, how about you? I mean, Brandon Westman, obviously Brandon, but what communities are in your catchment area, and when did the MRMTA branch start out in Westman?
Well, it started out in, we'll say Brandon first, in like 1936. And between 1936 and to 1944, the branch began owning themselves and doing annual recitals in Young Artist Series and being much more involved in the Canadian Music Week series. Since about 2010, we have renamed our group to the Brandon and Westman Registered Music Teachers Association, because our branch has obviously extended quite a bit west and north, and we actually, I think as far as Melita, Boissevain, Killarney, and even north, some like Rivers area and there. So it's really branched out to more rural areas out here as well.
Mm-hmm. Wes, what made you decide to become a member of the MRMTA, and what value does being a member of the MRA give to teachers in Southern Manitoba and their students?
Well, it was certainly to find support from experienced teachers. I think that experienced teachers in rural Manitoba had a lot to say in terms of how to set up a studio and to relate to families and things like that. So that was a huge issue for me. It was also a way to contribute to my community and to my profession. and an opportunity to have my credentials reviewed and to provide that information for those that were looking for lessons.
Mm-hmm. And Dianna, how about you? Why did you become an MRMTA member?
It sounds very much like Wes's story. I was looking for a community of supportive music teachers and a group that I could learn from and share with and be encouraged from. So most of us are very qualified private teachers who run personal businesses, and to have a local support network is actually really important when you're an independent business.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was thinking about this actually yesterday. I'm a clarinet player myself, and I did a run out to a music store here in the city just to pick up some supplies, and it got me thinking. With the whole COVID Michigas and the rest of it, does that create any challenges for the rural parts of Manitoba? Like not only getting supplies, but I'm thinking here of distances. And I know that the drought this summer has created problems just because farmers' incomes has been far less. Wes, has it created any problems for you in southern Manitoba?
I'm sorry, I haven't looked at it that way at all. No, I don't. I think that there's been a lot less movement of people. Like people would typically go to Winnipeg, twice a month. Some people will every other day, and there was a lot less of that happening because of COVID than anything else. And so perhaps, but I don't think that in itself has impacted us here that directly.
Dianna, how about you?
Well, I was going to say, like any pandemic, it has obviously affected the rural communities similarly. But I have actually found that more parents and more families are reaching out to private music instruction because it's a stable thing, especially if you're offering online lessons.
Right.
You're the one stable event that their children can do year round, as opposed to group activities or sport activities, which have unfortunately been canceled very last minute. We still always have a backup. So it's actually created a huge growing movement, I said, for the music teacher, because we're learning how to shape our discipline and work with more media or new medias and different ways of reaching people all around. So it's hard to say that it had effect in a negative way. It actually had some real positive effects as well, if I can say that.
Yeah, which is great. Um, and while we're on the subject of COVID, Dana, I'll start with you. How is it affecting teaching for this 2021-2022 year? The
So
pandemic?
far, most of my lessons are in person, which is, again, for any teacher, it's a real blessing to be able to be one-on-one with students. As far as the only thing I hope that will improve this year, if things do go online, that internet will improve. That's probably our biggest hindrance, is that rural communities don't have the same high-speed internet that the urban centers will. So in some evenings, I'll find things delayed and really hard to communicate. So that would be the only thing I'm hoping that we can avoid for now, unless we get some really good internet out in the southwest corner.
Yeah, the infamous Zoom lag. What's the internet like for you out there?
It's not bad. I mean, typically I could get through a lesson without too many interruptions. I think what really has had an impact on me in terms of fatigue is trying to discern quality tone over the internet. I teach violin, and it's like listening to kazoos all day long. Like it's just the tone quality is just really at issue. And yeah, I'm also teaching in person now, and I will, like if kids have sniffles or whatever, I'll switch to Zoom, and which is wonderful because then they don't have to skip a lesson that week, and that's already happened once. But I am so happy to see people and talk to them in person and listen to the wonderful sounds that they're making instead of what my speakers give me.
Yeah, and I mean, with Zoom lessons, I mean, the advantages they do give, it's great, but you're always at the mercy of the student's mic, and
Yes.
sometimes the students don't always have the best microphones to capture what they actually really do sound like. Uh, Wes, what are you looking forward to most for this academic year in regards to private teaching?
I think I already said it without hesitation. It's personal contact, seeing the faces, hearing their voices, just connecting with families in the way that I've been able to in the past. Yeah.
And Dianna, how about you? Is it the same?
Yeah, Wes says exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking even one step further. I would love to see some public performances or, more families together distantly. Somehow we can make that work. I would really look forward to that this year.
I'm thinking in particular, I know Brandon has got a strong string program, especially at the university. Just thinking about like string groups and maybe getting them to performing socially distanced. Wes and Dianna, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with me. This has just been a real eye-opener for me. It's just been great to talk about the Manitoba Registered Music Teachers Association in the rural part of the province. Thanks so much. For more information about the MRMTA, check out their website at mrmta.ca, or you can visit their Facebook page at Manitoba Registered Music Teachers Association. Wes and Dianna, again, thanks so much.
Just a little correction there. It's mrmta.org.
Okay, mrmta.org. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for the opportunity.